Okay, hello. I am so sorry I am so late. It's a whole cascade of events actually, where I had a meeting with somebody, and then after that meeting, I was like, I'm gonna have lunch, and I started making my lunch, and then a client reached out and was like, Hey, are we still meeting today? And I had switched their meeting date for me for my own schedule, and they were so gracious as to allow me to do so, which was very kind of them. And then I forgot to actually change it in my calendar. So that's what happened. Anyway, hello everybody. I am just checking on here to make sure that I am live. Because I would not want to go live and miss you guys. So we've got the live chat. It looks like we've got one person watching. That one person might be me. That's totally fine. I am very late, so I understand. Let me go ahead and make sure I can see the chat. Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Griffith. If you don't know me that well, I use she, her pronouns. I am autistic and ADHD. I also have some other forms of neurodivergency kind of thrown in there that I don't focus on too much on this channel. And today we are talking about life coaching and therapy and all of the differences there, and also some of the similarities, and which one might be right for you. And I say might because I can't decide that for you, but I can tell you what I know about the two industries. Now, full disclosure, I am a life coach. I am not a therapist. However, I have been in therapy as a therapy client for over a decade now, which is crazy to think about. And it's like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to be done with therapy? But the answer is probably no, and that's okay. I'm sure I'll take breaks throughout my life. I have taken breaks, and I need it pretty consistently. I just do. I also have coaches, and I love my coaches. I especially really have business coaches because I think that is the area where I just knew nothing when I started, right? But also my business coaches have done a lot of life coaching for me. That's been really, really freaking invaluable, to be honest with you. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of the differences here, because I think that's where most people want to start. Like, what are these two things? How are they different from each other? Let's just dive into that. Sorry, just checking the chat periodically. If you have any questions, especially about life coaching, therapy, how it pertains to autism and ADHD, drop them in the chat. I will be checking on and off. So life coaching is an unregulated industry. That's probably the biggest and most important difference between life coaching and therapy. Therapy is a regulated industry. Now, this just means that there is an ethical board for therapists in each country, pretty much. And I think, is there an international board? There might be. Again, I'm not a therapist, so I don't know all the ins and outs. But I know that there is like the American Psychological Association and stuff like that for psychologists. And then there's also the board for therapists who are social workers and all of that good stuff. So there are boards of people who keep track of ethics of people and stuff like that. Whereas there is no such thing for life coaching. There is the International Coaching Federation, but that is just a company, right? It's not a governing body for life coaches or anything like that. They're just a company who said, we know a lot about life coaching. We can help more people become life coaches ethically. We're going to do that. But they're not a governing body or a board of any kind. They can't stop someone from being an unethical life coach. Whereas the board for and the licensing body for therapists can, take away your therapy license if you are, repeatedly doing unethical things with said license. Now, I do want to point out that this might not be as big a difference as it sounds like. So the reason I say that is because, as I have talked about a little bit here on this channel, I have had some shit therapists, like some real bad ones, who have done some deeply unethical things to me. That makes it sound really bad, but it is really bad. Like, they did some really crappy things to me in therapy, in a place where I thought I was safe, in the place where I thought we had trust. And I was treated very, very poorly by some of these people, and there were no repercussions for them because the only person who knew was me, and I didn't know how to report them. If I could go back, I would have reported several of these therapists for doing this, but I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't know. And so I received no benefit or what's the word? Like nothing to make up for the fact that I was harmed. And those therapists are still out there doing their therapy thing, potentially harming other people in the same ways. Um, and so, even though those boards and regulatory bodies exist for therapists, they aren't always as effective at getting rid of the bad therapists as you might think, right? Now, I have heard some people say at least there is a road you can take to report a therapist. There's no road you can take to report a life coach, even if they do something really awful, right? Unless it's illegal. And so that is something to take into consideration. I think if you're trying to decide between, oh, should I go to therapy or do I need a life coach? I think if you have found a life coach that you trust and they have a good, robust contract that protects you, then I think that's a great idea, you know? But if you're like, I don't have a helper that I trust, I'm just looking for someone who can help me, then I think therapy is the better road to go, because if you just like point and stab at a life coach, you could get anybody. But if you point and stab at a therapist, you know you're going to get someone who went through a degree, who passed their licensing boards, who, you know what I mean? So like if you're going random, I think therapy is often better. But if you're going with someone you trust, I think life coaching is a perfectly viable option. Does that make sense? So that's probably the biggest difference, right, between life coaching and therapy. The second biggest difference, though, is that therapists can diagnose and life coaches cannot, right? This plays into the difference, the third difference I'm going to talk about. But basically, if you're looking to be diagnosed with something, if you're like, something's going on and I would love to have a name, therapy is where you need to be, for sure. Now, is every therapist going to give you the correct diagnosis? No. They're going to disagree. They're going to fight. It happens. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar for 6 years. Turns out that's not what's going on in my brain. We think. My therapist now is like, I'm kind of wondering if that diagnosis was correct. And I'm like, oh shit. But we're pretty sure it's not. We're pretty sure that was a misdiagnosis, because for lots of reasons, I'm not going to dig into it right now, but for lots of reasons, we're fairly certain that was a misdiagnosis. But so there's no guarantee that you're going to get a therapist who like nails it on the first try, but they at least have the power and skills to diagnose. A life coach does not. Okay, so if you're looking for that label, if you want something on your medical record, therapy is where you need to be. This leads in nicely to the third difference, which is that therapists tend to help. I don't want to say this, because how do I say this? Hold on. Therapists are better equipped than life coaches to help with illness, right? Mental illness. Whereas I think life coaches can be perfectly equipped to deal with mental wellness. Does that make sense? So like, there's a difference between illness and wellness. Mental illness is, there's something going on in your brain and in your environment maybe, and in the way you've built your sense of self, or the way your sense of self has been affected by the things around you, that is leading to dysfunction, to distress, to disability, things like that. Whereas a life coach really is far less equipped to deal with that. Now, I'm not saying life coaches can't help you if you're mentally ill. That's not true. I'm mentally ill. I have major depressive disorder. And my coaches still give me tons of value, because I'm more than just my mental illness, right? But if you're in a really deep, dark place where your mental illness is consuming most of your life, coaching might not be the best fit for you right now. Or you might need coaching in addition to therapy. So then this leads me to, let me see, do we have questions? No. Okay. Ask questions if you've got them, folks, because I'm happy to answer. Then this leads us into the fourth difference between life coaching and therapy, which I just lost. I had it in my brain and it ran away. Hold on. This is what it's like to have ADHD, folks. Squirrels. So many squirrels. Okay. So the main difference, another main difference between life coaching and therapy is, this is a bit of a generalization, so please take it with a grain of salt. Therapists generally approach therapy from an academic point of view. They use everything they learned in their degree, whereas life coaches generally come from a lived experience point of view. Now, you're going to have life coaches who are very academically inclined and know a lot of the research and academics. Hi, that's me. I do a ton of research on this stuff. So I'm coming at it from a lived experience point of view, sure, from my own autism and ADHD, but I also know a shit ton of the research, right? So you will have life coaches who have both, and you will have therapists who have both. Some therapists are very open about their own struggles, and they find that that helps them build rapport with their clients, and that's great. But if you're just going with your general run-of-the-mill therapist, they're going to come at it from a more intellectual, academic, book-based learning point of view, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. And a lot of life coaches are going to come at it from a lived experience point of view. This is what I've been through. This is how I dealt with it, that kind of thing, which again, nothing wrong with that. That's totally great. They're both great. It just depends on what you're looking for, right? Okay. Oh my goodness, there's like 5 of you here now. Hi. Hello, everybody. So those are some of the main differences between life coaching and therapy. Honestly, I think the only other main difference is that most insurances do not cover life coaches, whereas most insurances do cover a therapist. So, excuse me. That is something to consider financially as well, as you make your decision. So I don't know. That's really all I've got. Do you guys have questions about therapy, about life coaching, about what either one is like? I could talk about that a little bit. So therapy is really different depending on the therapist. Like I've had some therapy sessions that are really interactive. Like I had a therapist once who had me do sand tray, like play therapy. That was so helpful. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was very creative, symbolic, like it really jived with my brain. But I've also had therapists who are very much like, you just talk and I just reflect what you say back at you. That was less helpful for me at least, but everyone's different. That might be super helpful for you. And honestly, it was really helpful for me at one point when I was dealing with a lot of my invalidation trauma. It was really helpful to just talk and have someone say, "So I hear you." And I was like, "You hear me? What the hell? That's great." So there's all different kinds of therapy, but basically you're going to go in a room. There's probably going to be a couch. You don't have to lay down. But you can sit wherever you feel comfy. They'll make themselves at home in any of the seats. There's no pressure to sit in the right seat or anything. I know sometimes people can get freaked out by that. But yeah, you can sit wherever you like. The therapist, especially that first session, is just going to be them asking a lot of questions, and you just got to be honest. Really? Like, I've never understood lying in therapy. Like, you're paying to be there. Like, get the most out of it. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I've never lied to my therapist. I absolutely have when I was like, I'm going to get in trouble. She's going to be mad at me. It's like, no, she's not. My goodness. Although I have had therapists get mad at me, unethical therapists, like I was mentioning earlier. I have had therapists get mad at me. So that is like a fear for me sometimes. But generally speaking, just try to be as honest as you can. Like, I go in there and I'm like, hey, like, I literally told my therapist the other day that I was feeling, I don't know, do I want to share this on the internet? Anyway, I don't want to share this on the internet. But I was very honest about some big feelings that I was a little nervous about. I was a little worried she wouldn't be able to receive them, that she would think I was like in danger or something when I wasn't, and all this stuff. And she was so great. And my current therapist is literally one of the best therapists I've ever had. And I feel very fortunate to be working with her. But she helped me realize I have PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is basically when the week before your cycle is just hell on earth. And it's like very agitated depression concentrated into 1 week instead of like a month. And it's really terrible. It's really not fun. But she was the one who helped me realize that I have that, which was very helpful. She's just been great. I don't know. I just want to brag on my therapist. She's really, really helpful and wonderful. She's been wonderful in how much I've been needing to talk about what's happening in Palestine. I've heard a lot of horror stories from people who are in therapy trying to talk about Palestine and the genocide happening there. And they're just like, yeah, my therapist is like, oh, don't let it consume your life. Like, it's okay. Focus on other things. And it's like, that is not the answer to a genocide, my friend. And my therapist has been really, really great. She's just been like, yeah, this is horrible. What are you going to do about it? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do? And she's like, we all need to be doing something. So what are you going to do? And I'm like, you're right. And like, she's really helped me stay active in trying to end this genocide somehow and contributing to the organizations that are working on it. So that's been really wonderful and very helpful. She's just a cool therapist and I like her. As for life coaches, I am super happy to talk about my life coaching services for just a moment, if you will indulge me. So if you didn't know, I'm a life coach. I create a lot of content on the internet around autism and ADHD, and I love doing this work so much. And I also love working with my clients. I do a couple of groups, but I also do one-on-one coaching, and both are really great. It kind of just depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for individual coaching, if you're like, I know I don't want to be in a group, first of all, just go ahead and email me. My email is Megan, Megan, at the neurocuriosityclub.com. Just shoot me an email, or you can go to my website and click on the contact form, whatever works, whatever's easier for you. But shoot me an email and just let me know, like, hey, I want to work with you. I trust you. And I think, we could do some good work together. If you're wanting to work with a life coach, but you're like, okay, but how do I know you're the right life coach for me? I specialize in a couple of things. One of my biggest pet peeves is when you go on Psychology Today and it's like specializations and they just list everything. And it's like, okay, you're full of shit. I hate that. That drives me bananas. So here are what I'm actually good at. I am good at helping people with executive dysfunction, which is a lot of things, but one of the biggest things it is that difficulty getting started with stuff. Right? And like difficulty accomplishing your goals. So I love helping people with that. I also love helping people with emotional regulation, which is basically when you feel super big emotions, they feel like they're taking over your life. You have no control. I want to give you some control back. And the third thing I love helping people with is internalized shame. I know I'm like smiling as I say that. It's like the most horrible thing, like internalizing the idea that you're a worthless piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry. I experienced a lot of it and I've healed a lot of it. And I love helping other people heal it too. So that's kind of what I specialize in. And then I have 3 areas where I'm fine. I'm like, okay, I'm a totally competent coach, but it's nothing special. And that is autistic burnout, career stuff, and dissociation. I think I'm helpful. I'm not like useless, but it's definitely not my area of expertise. And then we have the areas I just don't touch with a 10-foot pole because I'm not qualified. And that is sexual trauma and food trauma and or body image trauma. I'm just not qualified to help with those things. I'm just not, and I'm not going to pretend to be. So there's that. So that's one-on-one coaching. And then if you're looking for group or if you're open to group, I have 2 main offers for you. The first is really community focused. So this is for people who are like, I just want to know I'm not alone and I'm not crazy, please. This is called the Neurodivergent Clubhouse. It's a pay what you can monthly membership, which means you can pay as little as $3 a month. And in return, you get body doubling several times a week. You get monthly group coaching. You get a monthly book club. You get a monthly guest expert workshop. Literally, there's so much stuff in there. A Discord community. It's very, very wonderful. If you just go to my website, neurocuriosityclub.com, and go to coaching at the top, one of the drop-down options should be the Neurodivergent Clubhouse, and you can join there. Let's see. Oh, and then if you're like, okay, that executive dysfunction thing you were mentioning earlier, that's me. If that's what you're looking for help with, I have a whole program called the Get Shit Done program. And that's what it's about. It's about getting shit done. And it's like a whole course. So there's video modules you can watch that are all about like, the emotional and practical sides of being more productive, because I think it takes both to actually get stuff done. But then you also get weekly group coaching with me. So the Neurodivergent Clubhouse that I mentioned earlier, that's monthly. This is weekly. And the nice thing about the Get Shit Done program is that it's not a monthly membership. You pay one time and you get access for life. As long as this program exists, you get access. And if and when I do eventually decide to close it, which is not anywhere in the near future, if and when I do eventually decide to close it, you are guaranteed 6 months continued access to both the course and the coaching. So I will not pull the rug out from underneath you. You will get your money's worth. And it's such a good program. I love it. I've been running it for like 3 years. There's, I think, 30 or 40 members in there now. There's not 30 or 40 people on the Zoom call though, because some people joined 3 years ago. They got what they needed and they've moved on. Some people are busy on Wednesdays, or on Mondays, but so they don't come to the calls, but they watch the replays, which, by the way, you get the replays. All of that good stuff. Isabella's here. Hi. Hello. I'm just chatting about all the ways you can work with me as a life coach. I know a lot of you guys know me as a content creator. I'm here on YouTube and Instagram, and I love making content, but I am also a coach. In fact, I am primarily a coach. I make content so that people can find me and work with me. And obviously to educate. I love educating people, but a big part of the reason I make content is so that people know, like, oh, I know that person. I'd like to work with her. So, if that's you, if you're like, yeah, I need a life coach and I'd like it to be you, you can go and email me at Megan, Megan, at neurocuriosityclub.com. And just, it can be a short email. No need to tell me your life story unless you want to, in which case that's fine. But you can just say, hey, I want to do one-on-one. How do I do that? So let's talk cost for all of these things, because I also hate it when coaches are like, come work with me. It's going to be so much fun. And they like sell you on it and you're so excited. And they're like, it's $10,000. And you're like, oh no. So I hate when people do that. So please let me be transparent about my prices. So the Neurodivergent Clubhouse, which is the monthly membership, is pay what you can. And you can pay as little as $3 a month. You can pay as much as you would like. So if you can afford to pay $5, $10, $15 a month, that is hugely welcome for me, but it's absolutely not required. You can pay what you want. So that's how the payment for that works. Then for the Get Shit Done program, we have another kind of unique payment situation. I actually offer what I call equitable pricing. And this is where I have 3 prices, and each price comes with the same stuff. It's not like you get more for paying more. There are 3 different prices, basically just to say, like, it's pay what you can afford, and just choose the one that fits best for you. I put examples underneath each one of, like, if you own property, if you have no major debts, and you can afford everything you like want for the most part, please pay the highest price point, because that's kind of where you're at financially. But if you're like, I can't do anything I want to do, but I also don't have any money, like, then pay the lowest price point. That's what it's there for. It's okay to use it. I have used the lowest price point on people who price their programs like this before, because money has been tight. I have 3 kids in daycare. It's expensive as all hell. Okay. So that's what that's there for. So let me tell you, the price points are $697, $997, or $1,297. Now remember, this is for lifetime access. You pay once, you get access for years, potentially, probably. I don't want to guarantee anything, because, I could have to close the program at some point, but this program has been running for 3 years now, and I have no intention of closing it. You have guaranteed access for 6 months, even when I do close it. So, but you get lifetime access, you get weekly group coaching, you get a whole course explaining to you how to navigate the emotional and practical sides of productivity, especially when you have ADHD. And you also get a ton of cool bonuses. You get like my autism and ADHD discovery binders. I have a whole other course about executive dysfunction that's thrown in there. You get a personalized resource packet, which I'm actually behind on making those. I need to make those. It will be late. I'm just going to be honest with you. It will be late. You will not get it right away, but you will get it. And then you also get a free call with me as well that you can schedule for any time. So yeah, that's the Get Shit Done program. And then there's one-on-one coaching with me. So if you're like, yeah, I would love to work with you one-on-one, that sounds great. The cost for that is $2,000, and you get 12 weeks with me, 1 hour on Zoom every single week. And yeah, that's what that cost looks like. There's also payment plans for all of these, for the Get Shit Done program and for the one-on-one coaching. You can split it up into 3 months, 6 months, I think maybe even 10 months for one of them. And it's completely interest-free, which means it does not cost extra to use the payment plan, because, oh my gosh, do I hate that. I used to do that. I'll be totally transparent with you. I didn't think of it as interest. I was like, well, I'm just giving people who pay in full a discount as a thank you for paying in full. And somebody reached out to me a couple years ago and was like, hey, I kind of feel like I'm being penalized for being poor. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, I feel like I'm just as committed as somebody who can pay for the full year. I just don't have the cash. And like, that's kind of really unfair. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're actually definitely right. And there's no reason to charge extra. Well, okay, it's not that there's no reason. The reason people tend to charge extra for payment plans is that sometimes people will flake out on their payment plans and stop paying. They treat it like a Netflix subscription. They're like, well, I'm not using it, so I'm going to stop paying. And it's like, this is more like a payment plan for a couch. It doesn't matter if you're not using it, you agreed to the payment plan. But sometimes people will treat it like a subscription model and they just stop paying. And so you lose money. And so sometimes people charge more for payment plans that way. If someone stops paying, they lose out on less money. And I get that. I do. But I have decided not to run my business that way. So my payment plans are literally just 2,000 divided by 4, 2,000 divided by 6, whatever. Or divided by 3 and 6 and 10, I think. But yeah, so that's how payment plans work. There's no extra payment for paying with a payment plan, and there's no less payment for paying in full. You can do it however you like. Oh, I can't even imagine. What a good username. Hi, how are you? So let's see. I am just chatting about ways you can work with me. I'm a life coach in addition to being a content creator. And yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have questions? Do you want to know what I like working with, or what people who've worked with me in the past have had to say? Or I don't know, like, what do you guys want to know? Let me know. And I'm happy to answer questions. I know it takes a minute for the lag to catch up in the chat, but yeah, I would love to know what you guys are thinking and what kind of questions you have about coaching with me specifically, or about like the life coaching industry in general. I'm super happy to answer questions about that or about therapy. I just wanted to come on and talk about life coaching and therapy a little bit because I feel like there's a lot of confusion around like what's the difference. And I think there's a lot of people out there who like kind of feel, and I know I felt this way for a while before I started coaching, but I know there are some people who feel like life coaching is just like the unethical version of therapy, which it's really not. I promise I do not pretend to do therapy. There's huge disclaimers all over my website about how this is not therapy. I am not a medical professional. And I don't try to encroach on therapy's scope of practice. I really just try to do my thing and help my people as best I can. So how did you start coaching? I love that, Isabella. Yeah, let's talk about it. Also, hi, Sophia. Hello. Okay, so I started coaching in January of 2021, maybe February. I don't know, early 2021. And the reason I started coaching is sort of twofold. First, because I needed the money. I had started a business. I was selling digital products and courses. It wasn't making enough money and we needed to pay our bills. So I was like, I got to find another way to make money. I know I can charge more for my time coaching somebody than I can charging for like an ebook, right? So I started coaching because we needed money, but I also started coaching because my brain is like this little vault full of mental health information nuggets, right? It's just full of them from my minor in psychology in college, from my obsession with psychology stemming back to like 3rd grade. I know so much, right? And I love learning about this stuff. I love it, but it was a waste to not convey it to people, to not talk to people about it. So I was like, I bet I could help people with this. So I talked to my business coach about it. I was very nervous because, like I said, I had spent a lot of time thinking that coaching was just the unethical version of therapy. And I was like, I don't want to be a bad person. I don't want to be a grifter. And my coach was like, well, are you going to grift people or are you going to give them value? And I'm like, well, I'm going to give them value. And she's like, then you're not a grifter. Stop. And I'm like, oh, So I was like, okay. So just to test the waters, I decided to make a TikTok. And at this point, I had like 200 followers maybe. And I decided to make a TikTok where I said, here are 5 signs of internalized shame. And at the end of it, I said, hey, and I'm a mental health coach, because at the time I wasn't working with neurodivergent folks specifically. I was just generally helping folks with their mental health. It's like, hey, I'm a mental health coach. If you want to work with me, just let me know. Holy cow. This went mega viral. It had like 3 million views. It was like maybe my 20th video I ever made. It was crazy. And I got somewhere between 30 and 50 discovery calls over the course of like 2 days. I had to go stay at my in-laws so that they could watch my baby for me because my husband had to work, so that I could take calls all day. I was in calls from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. every day. It was wild. um, and yeah, it was absolutely bananas. And that's how I got my first several clients, was from that video. And then after that, I started making other videos and getting clients that way. I started branching out to Instagram and started getting clients that way. That's primarily where I get clients now, is Instagram and YouTube, because I'm not on TikTok anymore. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. Just luck of the draw, going viral, really, you know. Let's see. I'm doing well today. Cleaned my kitchen and made soup. I'm on a roll. I'd like to know, as a life coach, do you keep a schedule for yourself? How do you keep a balance with work and life? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Um, so my work-life balance is okay. This is not a strong suit of mine. I am a very monotropic person, which, if you don't know what monotropism is, go check out my channel. I have 4 videos all about it, relatively recent, so go check that out. But monotropism is basically when you're very, very focused on like one thing at a time, and you focus very deeply on those things. So I have a hard time switching from work to home life and from home life to work. I just struggle with that kind of stuff. And so I end up getting really stuck working. I'm definitely a bit of a workaholic. I gain a lot of joy from my work. I love being a life coach and a content creator. I could sit here on live with you guys for hours, honestly, and it would be great, but I have other stuff I have to do. So what I do, some stuff I'm trying to initiate a little bit of work-life balance, is like, when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids, period. Right? I really try to put the gosh darn phone down and just play with my children for at least an hour a day. And I know that might sound sad to some of you, like 1 hour a day, you get 1 hour without your phone with your kids. Are you serious? But for some of you, I know you're like, ooh, a full hour, like, respect, you know? So everybody's different. Let's try not to judge each other. Okay. But I really try to just engage with my kids as much as I can when they're home from daycare. So that's a big part of my work-life balance. I also try to spend the evenings with my husband. I have to work some evenings, but I really try to just hang out with him most evenings because I miss him and I love. My video went weird. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry, folks. My internet is being straight up goofy. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So yeah, that's I really try to just be with my family when I'm with my family. And when I'm at work, shoot. This is so frustrating. Let's see if I can switch over. Oh, that's why, because the actual Wi-Fi is being dumb. Okay. So sorry, folks. I don't know why. This is like a whole thing. But yeah, that's work-life balance for me. It's tricky. It's hard. I'm working on it. How I keep a schedule is I use Calendly for all of my scheduling things. If anyone wants to book a call with me, they do it through Calendly. That way we don't have to email back and forth like 10 times. Like, are you free on Wednesday at 9? No, but I'm free on Thursday at 9. Oh, I can't do Thursday at 9. Can you do Friday at 2? Like, I don't do that. I just send them a Calendly link and they book it there, right? It's so much easier. If I want to become a therapist, what kind of education do I need? It depends on where you live, but I believe in the United States, you can get a psychology degree, a social work degree, or you can, I think those are the 2 main ones. And then there's all different types of licensure that you can get. So I'm not an expert on that side of things because I'm not a therapist. But yeah, you definitely have to have your bachelor's in something, probably in social work or psychology. And then you have to pass all your boards and whatnot as well, and do your clinicals and all of that good stuff. So I think it's good to be a life coach before I make up my mind. Yeah, I think that could be really good. Like, hey, do I enjoy working with people one-on-one? Would I be interested in doing this in a more intensive capacity and with the power to diagnose and all of that? Totally. Therapist to get a degree at a university, I believe. You can become a counselor with a college degree, and coaching you can do without a degree, but they help. Yes, Yes, totally. Do you find your coaching evolving as you find new tricks to help yourself? Ooh, Sophia, all the time. All the time. My coaching has gone from mainly listening and providing advice to I feel like I'm just such a better coach now. Like, oof, I feel like I'm able to help other people get in tune with their own intuition. I'm able to educate people. I use tarot cards. I use EFT tapping. I use journaling exercises. I use all kinds of tools in my coaching now. And I'm really proud of the business I've built and the way that I coach. I'm really proud of it. So thank you. What a cool question. I will study because it's hard for me to get a job, but I was thinking about becoming a life coach and then I started thinking about the differences. Yeah. I'm stressful but fun at the same time. Yeah. I have imposter syndrome when it comes to this stuff and found myself a perpetual student of holistic health and wellness. I have a lot to share, but have a block with actually putting myself out there. Any suggestions? Well, I'm also a business coach. And I would love to help you start your business and become a coach and really start putting that knowledge to good use, right? There are people who need to know what you know. They need to know it. They're waiting for you. And if it's right for you, if this is the time, I can help you get started. So let me go ahead and drop my website for my business coaching in the chat. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So that is my website, The Chaotic Entrepreneur. Go ahead and book a consultation with me. You can go to my everything page and there should be a link to book a consult with me. Or let me just drop that in there actually. Hold on. Yeah, because it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. Nothing works. Sorry, that's my own fault. I'm just disorganized and making sure all my buttons work is hard for me. Let's see. There we go. I'm monotropic too. Hey, love it. Video is back. Okay, good. Sweden. Yeah, Isabella, I do not know the rules in Sweden at all. So make sure you do your own research on that for sure. I think I'll start with psychology. Love psychology. That's my special interest all the way. It's the time. It really is. I'd be happy to be coached into finally making this happen. Okay. Yes. Come work with me. Come work with me. I am accepting one-on-one clients, but I also have a mastermind that's starting in January. Now it is more witchy focused. So if you're not into witchy business type stuff like tarot, astrology, that sort of thing, if you're like, nope, I really just want straight business coaching, then I think working with me one-on-one is probably a better bet. But I am designing the High Priestess Business Mastermind, which it's going to be a quarter long mastermind. So it'll last 3 months, 1 quarter of the year. And each quarter is going to have a different focus. So Q1 is going to be, the Six of Swords, I think, or hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, I'm into witchy. Okay. Let me see if I can find this. One sec, because I can't remember what everything is now. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So Q1 is the Six of Swords, and our focus is going to be systems, building out back end, defining your big goals and your daily actions, right? So systems. Q2, which is April through June, is going to be the Page of Cups, which is all about social media. So how to have strategy and have fun and how to develop a content creation schedule. Then Q3, which is July through September, is going to be the Three of Pentacles, which is all about collaboration. So we're going to talk bundles, summits, PR, all of that good stuff, how to get podcast interviews. And then Q4, October through December, is the Nine of Wands, which is all mindset, how to have self-compassion and boundaries and how to be a whole person. So I know you guys were asking about my work-life balance and whatnot. So, so basically you can join for 1 quarter or you can join for the year. Now, you don't save money for joining for the whole year, but you do get a cool little bonus. People who join for the year are going to get a tote bag with an original High Priestess card designed by Brisephone, which her name is actually Brittany, but her like graphic design business is called Brisephone. And she does all of my graphic design work whenever I need to hire it out. She is brilliant. We love her. And I haven't actually seen the High Priestess card yet that she's going to design, but it's going to be good. So yeah, I'm so down with that. And January would be a realistic goal to get my finances in order. Did you want me to schedule a consultation either way? That is up to you. If you want to meet with me one-on-one just to chat and be like, okay, do we fit? Do we vibe? But if you're like, no, I'm pretty sure we vibe, then yeah, no need to book a consult. But I will say you should get on my email list so that you don't miss out on it when it goes live, which it's going to go live for Black Friday. So here is one way you can get on my email list. I wrote a social media spell that you can have. It'll help attract and repel the right and wrong people. So there is that. Just sign up for that. You'll be put on my email list, and then and then you'll know for Black Friday when the High Priestess Mastermind goes on sale. You can sign up. So being pretty scatterbrained, what would be your approach to getting to the core of what to focus on over a couple of sessions? Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Sophia. So what I usually do is in the first session, I'm like, okay, what are your biggest issues? Like, what are areas that are just hard for you right now, that you are struggling with, that feel like a drag, that don't feel fun, that are actively causing you harm? Like, just dump it on me. And then from there, we kind of build like, okay, these are the 3 or 4 main areas we want to work on. And then we it depends on the client. Some clients really want to know, how are you going to help me? And then we build out like a really specific plan. Some clients are like, no, these are the areas. Just make sure I stay relatively on topic and like, let's just work on it. So it depends on the client. I am pretty customized to my client, but yeah, that's kind of how we start, is just I tell them to brain dump all of the shit things. And then all the good things, we also brain dump about the good things too, because we don't want to just focus on the bad. It's important to know what your client's strengths are so that you can use them with them, right? Let's see. Hi, I discovered your YouTube channel recently after self-identifying as ND and love your content. I'm a channel medium, an artist finishing a book and a series of paintings. Definitely Angel Witchy. Ooh, Katayun, that's amazing. You're finishing a book. That's so incredible. Congratulations. That is so cool. I just finished my first draft of my book and it was hard. So good for you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Angel Witchy. I love it. If you want to come join me in the High Priestess Business Mastermind, you should. It'll be great. Go get the social media spell and get on my email list so that you don't miss out. Coolio. Thank you. Of course, Sophia. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. How do you decide on prices for what you offer? I've been thinking about doing coaching, but it's hard for me to put a price on it. Yes. So we actually talk about this in my program called Making Money as a Leftist. This is a group coaching program I'm running right now. So doors are closed, but the wait list is available. So let me go ahead and send you all that. So here's the wait list. But generally speaking, I can still give you advice on this, but there's a whole module on this in the Making Money as a Leftist program. So I got totally distracted. My own brain is so distracting sometimes. Oh, ADHD. Okay. One of the biggest things I use to price is the resentment rule, which is I never price low enough that when someone buys, I feel resentment. Or I'm like upset that they bought, because it's like, now I have to do all that for like that little amount of money. I never price that low, right? Or if I do ever price that low, I immediately raise the price, because it's like, great, you got it for a steal. Nobody else is getting it that low, right? So the resentment rule is a big one. I also like the inverse of that, which is the excitement rule. Every time that I make a sale, I want the people who bought to feel excited. I want them to be like, damn, I got it for that. Like, that's a good price. You know, it's a lot maybe, but it's worth it, because look at all this stuff I get. I get to work with this person I like and all of that good stuff. So I like the resentment rule and the excitement rule. And I kind of try to find a sweet spot between those, right? Yes, thank you so much. Congratulations. I'm considering it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. Good, good. Yeah, you don't want to price so low that you're like, "Oh, no." But you don't want to price so high that you feel like you can't sell with your whole chest. But there's a lot of mindset work you can do so that you can sell with your whole chest even when the price is high, right? Like my individual coaching is $2,000 for 12 weeks, and that's to some people that's a ton of money. To some people that's nothing. And that helps me a lot too, is to remember that everybody's perspective on money is different. And I don't market to people who have no money, not because I don't want to help them. I do. That's why I have tons of free and low cost stuff. But I don't market to people who have no money because that's not fair. That's not nice to them to say, hey, here's this thing. You can only buy it if you have money. Like, that's rude. So I don't market to people without money, not because I don't want to help them, but because I don't want to shove something in their face that they can't have. It's like waving a freshly baked loaf of bread in front of someone with celiacs. It's just rude. So instead, I put my free stuff out there as much as I can, like these lives, like all my freebies and, all this stuff. Um, and then I offer my paid stuff to people who have the money to pay for it, right? Like that's just how it works. Um, I love both these principles. Good. I'm so glad. Good, good, good. Okay, what's so funny is that this turned into like a business chat. Which it kind of, because we were talking about life coaching and therapy, which by the way, it's fine that it turned into a business chat. I'm pretty sure I did that with my energy because I have been really obsessed and excited about my business coaching recently. And I'm building out this High Priestess Business Mastermind, which by the way comes with weekly coaching. Every single week, you can hop on a call with me and we'll do coaching, group coaching. And it'll come with an astrological celebration call once a month. Every time astrology shifts, we'll do a celebration call. We're going to have a teaching call where I'm going to teach on, how I talked about, Q1 is systems and Q2 is social media and Q3 is collaboration, all that stuff. So I'm going to have keeps going in and out. So I'm going to have a teaching call once a month, but I'm also going to have an implementation call that same week where you're going to go to the teaching call or watch the replay, learn what you have to learn, and then we're going to do an implementation call that's basically a working meeting, and we can all like work on what we learned and do it together. So I'm very excited for that. And then we might do a full moon ritual as well. I haven't quite decided on that yet, but maybe. I think that could be fun. So, yes, good mindset. Yeah. Okay. Well, it is 1:12. I need a nap. I need to film today, but I need a nap first and foremost. So, I am probably going to go get a little sleep. Do you guys need anything else? Is there anything else I can help you with? I apologize if the buttons on my website don't work. I am scatterbrained and bad at filling out buttons. I'm going to have my VA audit my site this weekend. Or not this weekend. I don't make her work on the weekend, but I'll have her audit the site next day that she works, and figure out how to fix all the buttons because they're driving me nuts too. So I apologize if the buttons aren't working, but just go book a consult with me if you want to have a consult. And I'm excited. Okay. Well, have a good nap. Thank you. Take care. Yes, you too. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.